had never really been interested in gardening, growing my own food, until I came to Furman, when I began to get involved with the garden and other sustainable initiatives on campus. Furman's kind of sustainability initiative and other people who were also equally interested. I became excited about learning how human relationships with the earth can be enhanced by taking care of our own resources and by being self-sustainable. What's so interesting to me about growing my own food and being a part of the whole food production process is how it's such a cycle. It's this big kind of continuum that involves myself, but also plants and animals and the soil as well. And so what I help create, what I help grow, will eventually go back to the earth and help something else grow. And it's just this big cycle that we're all a part of, which really excites me and makes me feel like I'm a part of something bigger. It's also a balance. If we can reuse as much as possible, whether that means reusing water collected from our roof, reusing leftover food to go back into the ground, the more we can refrain from bringing extra resources in, the less we actually have to buy, the less we have to use from other places. I guess developing a garden as a sustainable unit is environmentally friendly. It's an environmentally responsible thing to do. It's tough balancing being a student and being a caretaker of a garden such as this. Compost piles, for example, take maintenance. You have to turn them and monitor them and add to them, and if they're not properly taken care of, they're not usable. So it's definitely a lesson in discipline and a lesson in intention. What we don't use by contemporary means will go to a landfill, but it doesn't have to. What we don't use, such as eggshells, newspaper, coffee, leftover food scraps, can go into a compost pile, which is basically its own metabolism process that breaks down those remains into simpler forms that can be used by plants and animals and creepy crawlies in the garden. So yeah. And normally we'll have a spring and fall planting, usually involving salad greens and kale, and we harvested a bunch of sweet potatoes earlier this fall, and we've had some melons and peppers and mainly crops that we use a lot in the kitchen because we have to cook for a lot of people as part of this community. So we use a lot of salad greens. We eat a lot of salad, and there are lots of things that I would like to see grown that haven't necessarily been started yet. But it's, again, being a student, there's just so much student turnover in the garden. So what we plant, we may not get to harvest. So it kind of requires a step back, say I'm investing in this garden for future students to have, which is it's kind of a sacrifice. It's of time, but again, it's about being environmentally responsible and being a part of something that's bigger and greater than ourselves.